These are official parts. I don't know anything.
Yes, these are all official
These are the ones we're talking about.
right now.
All right, I'll try to keep you updated. Thanks for being here. You know, really excited to talk about this class. It's, as you know, this is a great deal of work that goes into this for, you know, sometimes weeks, months, years for some of these guys. So it's a culmination of quite a bit of work. Really want to thank our staff and support staff for all the work that goes into this. We put together a very good class, top 25 class, very balanced. As of right now, we have, I think, 14 offensive players and 11 defensive players to talk about. I feel like there's very good balance within the high school and the portal as well. 9 high school players on offense I'm going to talk about, and 5 out of the portal. We needed a few more guys to add to some gaps on the offensive side. Defensively, really 11 high school players and 1 portal. We expect to add 1 more high school player today, and we just added the offensive portal I'll talk about here in a minute. So starting with the quarterback position, obviously Cutter was a guy that we had targeted and recruited for years. Right here at LCA, you know, what a great year he had, what a great program, and we are proud to have Cutter be our high school quarterback and a guy that will come in, compete, he will develop, and you know, we expect him to be a dynamic player. He's a guy that has a contagious personality, works extremely hard, very likable. You know, guys are attracted to him and helped us recruit players, and so Cutter was a very big get for us. And then out of the portal, getting Brock Vandergriff out of Georgia, obviously very important for us, very important piece. I think the thing you look at with Brock is you know, you could look at a lot of his film going back to high school. You look at what he did at Georgia. You look at the offense that he ran at Georgia. You know, they're complex. You know, going through that, he'll be able to come in and work with us. You know, when he came on his official visit, you know, really, I think if you would have just locked him in a room and him and Coach Cohen just would have talked football all day long, he would have been just fine with that. He's definitely a football guy, extremely talented player, and very excited about him. 4 wide receivers, 2 high school. Hartley Gilmore here practicing with us right now out of Florida, and then David Washington, 2 very good players, and then 2 portal guys that we really needed. Jamari Macklin from you know, Texas, North Texas is one heck of a player. Played at, started at Missouri, was at North Texas, and just a dynamic player. Again, one of those guys that's very serious, very skilled, you know, and very talented player. Love his work ethic, love his attitude, and I think he's going to be a big-time addition to our wide receiver room, along with Raymond Cottrell from Texas A&M. Has a few more years, but again, a big, strong receiver that could really run, and somebody we needed. Go to tight end. Willie Rodriguez is really a guy that's a complete tight end. He's a dynamic player, another, just like Cutter, another Kentucky guy out of Cub Cath, and Willie is just, you know, he's exactly what you're looking for at tight end. He's big and physical. He can run, he can catch. He's dynamic. We love everything about Willie. Extremely tough guy, and again, great addition. Running backs, we needed some depth there. Got 2 high school guys in Tavani and in Jason. one out of Fort Lauderdale, one out of North Florida, Sneeds, and then one out of the portal. I think the big one that, a lot of people were talking about, a big get for us out of the portal was Chip. Chip Trainum is one heck of a football player. Again, just like everybody we got out of the portal, extremely mature, extremely hardworking, great fit for us and for our culture. Very physical running back, so very excited about him. Offensive line, we got 3 high school guys in Hayes, Johnson, Mark Nave, and Abba Selm. Another Northern Kentucky guy there in Abba. And then we have 1 transfer out of the portal in Jalen Farmer from Florida. Gives us a big physical presence. Jalen is a guy that I was harassing him while he was here and told him we were meant to be together. We recruited him pretty hard out of high school and, and ended up coming back to us. So Jalen's a big physical presence we're looking for. Defensively, you could see we went pretty heavy with the linebacking unit. We needed that. Really, it's good balance all the way around. We have good depth at defensive line, but we added some a really good player there and expect to add another one, but went really heavy at the linebacking position. We needed that, both inside and outside. You got Caleb Red, would be an outside edge guy, Antoine Smith, an inside guy, Devin Smith, very versatile, but inside guy, Jacob Smith, right out of Corbin, again, a guy that has such big upside, on the edge for us, along with his brother, Gerard. Those 2 guys are dynamic players. Congrats to Corbin for having such a good year, and I think those 2 were a big piece of it. But, both guys play extremely hard and have such big upside, just like the rest of the linebackers that I just mentioned. And then Steven Souls out of Tennessee is the last linebacker out of the high school ranks. A big get for us. I'm sure that'll get a lot of attention. Is anytime you get a transfer like that, that's a Butkus finalist and a first-team All-American, and Pop Johnson from Georgia brings an awful lot to our football team. Again, a guy that unbelievable experience. But has that burning desire to bring that winning culture with him and work extremely hard and fit in with us. And Pop is a guy that obviously will have an immediate impact in our program, so we're very excited about him. And then on the defensive backside, we needed some depth there. Cam Dooley, an Alabama safety, a guy that we've been recruiting for a long time. Marshall, Quavo was a guy that we've been on and love everything about him. And Tarian Nichols is a guy. Both Tarian and Q Scott out of South Carolina and Tarian out of Cincinnati. Both are corners, DBs, versatile, and guys we needed, and I believe guys that could play early. So 2 guys that we really worked hard to hold on to and to recruit. And then, of course, we had to go to Montana to get a kicker with Jacob Cowie, but very strong leg, can do a lot of things, and very talented. So that's where we're at this point. We definitely will be adding hopefully a very big-time high school player here very shortly. And you never know where it's going to go with the portal as far as maybe 1 or 2 more other guys, but very, very good class, very balanced. Again, just appreciate the hard work that the coaches put in. I love these players. I think they're guys that fit Kentucky, and we're excited. We're excited to welcome them into our family. I don't have in front of me the exact numbers of how many guys are coming midterm. Tony and Susan could probably look that up. 13, 14, 14 coming in at midterm. That'll help us with depth. That'll help us with spring practice and all that. So Just want to thank, I mentioned the coaches, the support staff, SIDs, all of you guys, the coverage that you give us throughout the year. Just appreciate it. You guys work hard. A little shout out to Justin Rowland, for mentioning the 15 club and, since his article and promoting that and helping us with that. Really, I think 70 people have joined since he put that article out. So anything, that you could do to help that really, it helps. It helps our current players. I can't tell you how many people are trying to attack the great players that we have on our team and try to lure them and take them away from us. And I think relationships from us won out, along with the help from many people. And I just want to say thanks to the people that have helped and to the people that are going to help in the future. So thank you to all of them as well. So I'll stop and open up for questions at this point.
You mentioned the large linebacker number. Was there, I guess, why such an emphasis in a lot of those, the versatility? It feels like they've played multiple positions.
Yeah, I think the versatility is big for us, inside or outside. We play with quite a few. There's many downs. We could play with 4 linebackers. So, we need that. I felt like we got short time and want to make sure we're continuing to develop guys, from the high school level. And, with this model, with the way things are now, as things are different, and I've talked about that at length this year. We still want to concentrate on the high school player and bringing them in and developing them and having them around our program for a long time. But there's also that form of free agency, if you will, to plug some gaps.
Is that a position, like particularly edge, where you almost need to focus more on certain positions in high school because they're harder to find in the portal?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And you want to develop your guys. You want to develop them, and then you want to keep them. And that's always a challenge as well for everybody. I mean, all of us coaches. I mean, this is a great day, and I'm very happy and appreciative of the work that's gone in. But so it's no time to whine and complain. But it's definitely challenging times.
You mentioned fit and culture several times in talking about those guys. How much has that become a bigger factor?
I think it's a very big factor. It always has been. You're never going to be perfect. I think we always work hard to educate our players and to inform them. I think we have to expedite that process now. There's an urgency to teach and develop and have them understand what we're all about quickly, because some guys aren't here that long anymore.
Mark, with Brock, it seems similar to Will in terms of he hadn't played a ton of his old school, but he has those kind of NFL skills. Was that a conscious effort to try and find a quarterback like that in the portal?
Yeah, I think it was a conscious effort. The nice thing is with Liam and what he does, I think he definitely draws attention, and there's the people that are very interested in our program, which excites us. I think a guy like Brock, what you can see at that point, and the fact that he's coming from an offense where they do a lot of things very well and are extremely well trained and work hard and have all the intangibles that you're looking for. I think that's a big piece of it.
As a high school quarterback recruiting, you've had some bad luck there with injuries and stuff over the years, but what makes you confident Cutter's a guy that you can develop into that so you're not going in the portal every year?
Yeah, we want to get to the high school recruiting, as you know. This is a strong start. I think we have one committed in the future, and so we want to build that high school pipeline going with the quarterback position for sure. But with Cutter, he's a guy we know very well. We've been around him a bunch. We appreciate the time that Scott and Mary Beth and Cutter have spent over here visiting with us and spending time in our facility and coming to games and coming to junior days and just visiting with them. And he has all the intangibles you're looking for. He has all the physical attributes that you're looking for. And so really had a great year, and he's just a guy I think we could build around.
There aren't too many guys in the portal that have All-American next to their name that played in national championship games. That experience there, how does what he did at Georgia translate to what you all want him to do here?
Well, I think both with he and Brock, the nice thing is they're bringing, some elements and some things of what it takes to play at that level and to communicate that and to work with our players and to blend in with our culture, but to bring any of that winning attitude, that winning formula, the work ethic, what it takes, and be leaders on this team, and hopefully educate and push our players to a higher level as well.
Mark, with all the offensive linemen you got, can you put out?
Yeah, they can play. We have some versatility within that group, and we're also recruiting some as well.
How Davis Johnson, just when you watch him, what makes him so good? What made him the guy you wanted specifically?
Well, just he's extremely talented, extremely explosive, plays with great energy, experienced, you name it.
With all the things that are compacted within a short period of time, like keeping the kids here and recruiting, and all the other things, bowl games, all things that seem like in a short window. What kind of progress is being made from how to try to change some things in terms of how things recruited and signing date and all that stuff?
Well, as you just mentioned, that's kind of a little bit of a contradiction there. You just mentioned the 18 things that we had to do, so it's not exactly the right time to look at things and to change. You know what I mean? That's not to say that we're we're constantly trying to learn. We're constantly trying to do things better. I think trying to make sure my feet were on the floor and in the right place at the right time was priority number one. So we will take a deep dive into how you do things better at another time. Even the coordinators, they had some time to prepare for this game, but we've been slammed 24/7.
Coach, how nice was it to kind of flex your muscles on the recruiting trail with the Smith brothers when, the #1 team in the country wanted them pretty badly?
Well, I think, the Smith twins have been just a joy to recruit. We've had a strong connection with them for a while. Back when I visited, their school up in Connecticut and spent time up there. And, fortunately they came back to Kentucky. And I think it's good for the state. I think it's certainly good for that area, down at Corbin. And went down there and spent time at the high school and spent time with the boys and went in the community and ate some food and saw some people. And, I think they bring a lot to the state and to that area in particular. We're grateful to have them. They've been like I said, they've been a joy to recruit. They're very mature young men. They work extremely hard, and I think they're the type of guys that can have an impact very quickly.
Mark, can you tell them apart?
Yes. Yes.
What are the dynamics of recruiting brothers? I mean, not just those twins, you had twins before, but you can't talk about them, but
Yeah.
the younger brothers and current players you have. What are those family dynamics like?
Well, sometimes it makes a phone call earlier. I was talking to Jacob the other day, and I was like, "Get Gerard on the phone for me." And he had to yell at him, and he had surgery, and so it makes a phone call. Maybe one less phone call to help happen, one less official visit because you knock them out, at the same time. But no, I think they're both. Very close. They're both tremendous football players right now with great upside, but they're different people. I think they'll tell you that. And, we'll coach them, differently, you know what I mean? And try to hone in on what each of them need on that particular day and help them grow and become the best players they can be on and off the field. But, I'm very excited about those two.
Mark with Brock, and I think all the offensive guys, they have at least 1 or 2 years of added eligibility, not just next year. How important was that to build some continuity on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think, it definitely is. I think, you know that with the inconsistency that we've had, continuity is important. just the guys right now. Back to your question, Lonnie, I think, you can see the progress made in practice. I definitely can see that. I see the guys at the end of the year, following the Louisville game, they needed some time. I mean, we had a brutal schedule. I mean, mentally and physically, got some time to heal up, and then we go back out there at practice, and I see growth already. And so then you add some guys like this and add some pieces, and it really excites me for the future.
Mark, signing of Chip aside, you're adding 2 young running backs to the group that's already going to have Jamarion. How excited are you about the future of the backfield with all these young guys?
Yeah, you definitely, you feel like, these 2 guys have some great size, and then you bring in Chip as well. I know he'll be, won't be here too long, but you bring in a guy like Chip with that size and the high schoolers, and then a guy like Jamarion that could take it to the distance at any time. It'll help. We needed it. We needed some depth.
Is it easier to recruit like multiple running backs in the same class nowadays because guys don't maybe feel like they need the 30 carries a game? They just see so much more that offenses are kind of geared to having multiple running backs kind of.
Yeah. I believe so, and there's a lot of good backs out there, and they know they need some help. I mean, they get banged up. It's a pretty physical position.
You got a lot of big in-state names. I know we talk about this every year, but how important is it to keep those guys in-state and keep them from going down the road?
It's always our number one priority. I always say that, that no matter how many it is, no matter what the number, we want the right players here, and we want to keep them in-state. That's our priority. And, we got some, we were fortunate to get some really big-time players out of the state this year.
Well, you mentioned the relationship with Jalen Farmer before, and I think you offered some to other guys in the transfer. Just how important is it to keep those relationships?
Yeah, I think it is important. I mean, I can't say, I didn't tamper. I didn't keep in touch with him that way, but once he went in the portal, it was good to make that contact and to get him back here. And I think him being familiar with us and being on campus when he was here recently definitely helped.
I think Marrow tweeted out at some point, hey, running backs, this is the place that you want to be. How do you think his season and what you've done kind of the last several years do for a guy like Chip? Be interesting.
Yeah, I think it has to play a role, because obviously he was in a good situation, at Ohio State on a very good team that's very well coached with a lot of talented players. I think it has to help to see, Benny, C-Rod, and now, this year, in the way we've had success with running backs and, want to be committed to that, want to be committed to the running game. Obviously, I don't want to get into the detail. We had our ups and downs with that, but that's part of our DNA and what we want to look like, and we want to be able to have that physicality. And so, you have to ask him, but I definitely believe that's a piece of it for a guy like that to want to come to a place that's committed to running the football like that.
Mark, did I hear you correctly say that Hardly Gilmore is already on campus practicing with you guys?
He is here. I don't really want to get into the details of some of that, but we had a waiver and have some extenuating circumstances that he is here. Yeah.
Playing the bowl game, or
he cannot, but he can practice.
He's from an area of Florida that has produced pros quite frequently.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, they're known for their speed. Is that showing up when you've seen so far?
Yeah, he just definitely. You can. Okay. Yeah, he definitely is one of those guys, that where he comes from, I have great respect for. A lot of tough guys come from there, and guys that could run, and he has all the skills you're looking for at wide receiver. So he's just out there. He's trying to put it together right now, but great young man. Always has a smile on his face. Always works hard, and so we're excited about that.
Mark, Raymond didn't play extensively at A&M, and I said, no, was he a guy that maybe Jimbo gave you like a heads up, like, hey, this is a guy maybe you guys want to look at if he decides to enter the portal?
No, I had not talked to Jimbo about him, but we just watched enough film and felt like with the years left on him, and his size and speed was something that we needed to fill. And, he'll help us. And I could also add now the 12th high school player, and Brian Robinson, his paperwork is in, and obviously another extremely highly rated player. You know, you put him and Gerard and Jacob and some of these other guys together, and did a great job. Coach Marrow's going to talk to you guys here in a minute, but has a strong relationship with Brian and the family, and he's a Youngstown guy, so we better not lose a Youngstown guy like that. You know what I mean? And so we go. He's another young man that has let us recruit him and has come here so many times and dedicated a lot of his time and energy to us and to a lot of schools to do a lot of due diligence. So it says a lot about our staff and about our program to be able to sign Brian because he obviously had all options and came here so many times, and he was very thorough in what they do, and I'm not sure I've ever seen a more dedicated high school player to as far as the way he goes about his business with training, nutrition and flexibility and coaching and you name it, extremely dedicated. So another guy with very mature that will bring continue to add to the strong culture that we're looking for.
You guys have talked so many times over the years about how hard that edge rusher position is in your defense to learn, but because he does all those training things, does that position him better maybe to play earlier?
I think it does. I think him and Gerard are guys that have the physical ability, and they play so hard that can definitely help us.
Kind of going back to the wide receiver room, Jamori Macklin, he brings an elite skill set to the team. When recruiting him, what kind of really stood out to you guys, and what do you think he brings to the team?
With Jamori, what really stood out was really just all business with him. I mean, he obviously relationships are always strong, but just a very serious young man. Again, somebody that you can tell. Works with his cousin Jeremy and trains and is a very well trained wide receiver already, and definitely has his eyes set for the future and has he's got his priorities in order, and we love that. And he's a guy that could come in and help us right away, and so just love his attitude. His skill set kind of speaks for itself. And the way he gets in and out of breaks, the way he catches, the competitive nature that he has. I mean, he has a lot of qualities we're looking for, and he's also very intelligent, and he's also very, very versatile. Obviously he's going to be a dynamic inside guy to complement Dane and Barryon and the other guys we have, but to get a dynamic inside guy is really important for us. And but he also can move around a little bit if he had to as well.
Mark, how important was it you had a couple guys go into the portal and come back, especially Dingle and from the portal? How big was that for the tight end room to get him back?
Yeah, I think it was very important. Jordan's a guy that we definitely want in the program. I mean, here's a young man that does, everything right. He's darn near perfect in his grades, and he's been just a great teammate. He loves it here. I don't think wanted to leave. I'm just going to stop there before I get myself in trouble. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to whine or cry. This is an exciting day. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of money involved.
Not that the
One update, we got
18 guys who will be coming in.
Okay, thank you.
not that the transfer portal hasn't treated you guys very well at the quarterback position, but I guess for you, how maybe excited is it to the expectation that Cutter can come in and be a high school guy you guys mold and have for multiple years?
Well, I think that was clearly a priority for us. You know what I mean? Clearly a priority when Liam came back. It was to go zero in on a 24 quarterback. You know, and to get Cutter, who we've been recruiting for years and years, the guy we wanted, was very important. And and now we want to continue to do that with high school guys. Yeah.
What was it about Cutter that really made you guys go all in on him?
Well, everything. I think, with quarterbacks, I mean, the physical attributes have to be there. right? I mean, you have to be able to have the ability to play at this level, at the highest level, and he clearly has that. And then with quarterbacks, you look to the intangibles, and he's way above the norm there. He's elite with the tangibles, his work ethic, he's likable, and what I mean about that is he could always round up guys. They want to go work with him. They want to go throw. They want to do extra work. I mean, those are the intangibles, the leadership qualities that come very naturally to him.
Anyone else? Mark, Cutter's been committed for a while, obviously, but Brock more recently. How much did Will playing in the NFL and playing so well right away have an impact in that league?
You have to ask Brock. I would imagine it has an impact. I don't think there's any question that what we do attracts quarterbacks because they know it's going to get them ready. I mean, and with the terminology and how complex we are and what we do, I mean, it definitely helps. I mean, and there's areas where, as I mentioned, that we want to improve, that we got to adjust, and we have to keep up with things and be current as well.
At the end of the day, obviously, I mean, you hire coaches for what they can do on the game days, but, Cutter was pretty blunt back when he committed that if Liam wasn't the OC, he probably wouldn't have come here. So I guess, what can you just speak about, like, just Liam's influence on the recruiting?
Well, I think Liam and Cutter had a relationship prior to Liam leaving. I think that, hurt. And then, I think with Liam coming back, I mean, Liam has that personality, that charisma that people are attracted to, and that's important to lead at this point. When you're, in front of the team or in front of a offense or a defense, for that command, it's extremely important. And Liam has that, and he could connect. It doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean we all connect with every guy perfectly, because that's not the case. But certainly that was very, very important to Cutter, and I think it was important to Cutter to know that he was always a guy that I wanted and that Liam wanted, and that as soon as he came back, we went back on him full force. And maybe that wasn't the case, you know what I mean? Maybe he didn't feel that from a previous, quarterback coach.
Mark, we talked to Coach Schwartz yesterday for the first time. What did you like about him in the hiring process, and then how do you see him maybe fitting into the recruiting operation? Yeah,
DeKill is just a guy that I was just very, very impressed with. He's a young guy that again, I think, the energy that he brings, connecting with the players. I think the first thing was just getting, complete control of that room, because we have some talented players, and not that it was anything wrong with it. It's just he's a guy that can, definitely bring some strong relationships to that room and develop the players that we have. Definitely will attract other players, and so I just was very impressed with DeKill. He was a guy that Liam and I, when we visited with him, I think both of us were didn't take us long, to figure out what we wanted to do.
Mark, it seemed like you got in and play Sheen Scott kind of early before he sort of blew up, and he did sort of blow up. What did you all see, and how gratifying was it that you were able to hold on to him?
Well, I think it was really important to hold on to him, and I think the strong relationships definitely meant something. And I think the fact that we identified, early on what a player he was, and that's not the first time that's happened. We have a tendency to do that. We evaluate, in particular, some DBs pretty good, pretty early, and he's one that we're very high on. And I think the relationships, the fact that we never wavered on him, he never wavered on us. I think people came in and tried to attack it late, and these kids get hit with a lot, anymore, and to his credit, he locked in on us, and he knew we were committed to him, and very, very grateful for the strong relationships and the loyalty.
Last one. Well, Mark, you guys have had some very defined recruiting places that you go, but with Jay and now DeKill, you have kind of two guys who have a decent amount of experience in Texas. Do you think that might become a bigger emphasis for you guys going forward?
You never know. We'll see, where that goes. You look at this year, and They had that for me somewhere. You know, we got Kentucky, Georgia, Ohio, Florida, Missouri, New Jersey, Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, Montana, and Maryland. Yeah, so we're getting around pretty good.
All right, folks.
All right, thank you.
Very much.
Yep.
Coach, thank you for your time today.
Yep, thank you.
We'll have Coach Marrow.
Okay, I don't need no statement, just,
Hey, we do questions for you, Coach.
what's that?
We'll just open it up to questions.
Yes.
Vince, over here, you give us your sleeper, who's the guy this year that's not getting enough attention.
I don't know, this is a pretty good class, so, I think, you know, when you look at Willie Rodriguez, because he committed and when we went through the recruiting process with him, kept evaluating him, I would say he is, but he won't be a sleeper long. He's a guy that really just got better and better. I mean, I think it says on here that he's 6'3". He's probably about 6'4.5" right now, and about 240. So when I did that home visit last week, he really looked like he can come here and play. So if I had said he was a sleeper, he won't be one for long. So.
Same question I asked Coach Stoops. How important is it to keep those top in-state recruits here at UK, especially after the season Louisville had and not going down the road?
We did beat Louisville, though, right?
You did.
Okay, so it's always important. Every year it's important. I mean, if you look, I think every guy we wanted, I don't know, Chase is not over there, but every guy we wanted, we targeted, we got in the state. I was happy to see some other guys go other places. It's showing how Kentucky football is going. But if you look at them top 5 guys we got, they were recruited by a lot of guys. And, you know, I just think every year, you know, we got to keep the fence around Kentucky with the top guys and then branch out. But we always going to go after it. And Jeff's a good friend of mine, so, you know, we're going to have some battles, and I'm looking forward to it.
Vince, I know some people, you know, the recruiting rankings are what they are, but at least by the numbers, Brian's one of the highest ranked guys to ever sign here. Like, what makes him so good?
I think it was what Coach Stoops just said. When you put everything together, I mean, this whole class, we got some high character guys, but this young man he's damn near perfect. 3.7 GPA. He's very technically sound in how he wants to live his life, meaning nutrition, training, spiritual side. And I'm gonna be honest with you, me and Mark was talking last week. He got to be one of the physical-looking guys I ever seen, like that can come in. You say, this guy like an SEC football player. I seen a picture where he was standing next to, Myles Garrett, and he looked bigger than him. And Myles Garrett is a big guy. So he's just, what I love about that young man is the way his dad has raised him. A lot of coaches stay away from something like that. They don't want to be where dad is that's very involved. But you look at me and Mark, where we came from, our dads were very involved in our life. They were very strict. And so I think we related to that. But this kid they need to do a study on him. If you just talk about him as his makeup as a young man. So we're very excited to have him.
How's that relationship with him and his family? How long does it go back, being one of the many Youngstown guys you said?
Believe it or not, it goes back probably about 10, well, with his dad, about 20 years. But with Brian, my younger brother Raymond, who played college quarterback, Brian really was a quarterback at first, and my brother was training him, and he told me, this young man's going to be a big-time quarterback. And I seen the pictures of him. He was about 120, 130 pounds. And they look at the transformation now. I told my brother, you're always right, but you're always wrong, too. He's a D lineman. But it goes back, you know, Youngstown only but so big, and, you know, whether it was a Lynn Bolton or, you know, Tamir DuBois or Jordan Jones, when them guys come out of there, you know, it was really 3 schools you could go to back then. It was Oklahoma, Nebraska, and then Kentucky. Now the other guys are out, so now you got to go to Kentucky. That's pretty much what they want, and they know we're going to take care of the guys here. So
Nichols is, you've signed a lot of Ohio guys, but the top 10 guys from Ohio, there's only a few, and they end up hitting it. Yeah. Nichols is another one of them. What do you think he can bring?
A lot of people throw around Mike Edwards. They got to be careful saying that. but this kid is really close to being Mike Evers, but he's faster. He has very high IQ, and he's very twitchy. We use the term of being twitchy, and he's, he can play corner, he can play safety, he can play running back. He was a punt returner. Coach Jones did a really good job, with him, and I mean, he's a guy that could come in and play, like Stoops said. I mean, he's a very talented young man, and I think he's, what was he, number 9 in the state or 10? When they started coming to Kentucky, I think at one time he was 4. And Brian was 2. Now I think Brian is 4, and he's 10 or something like that. So we'll take them all. We love Ohio.
What Chip, is that a relationship you have established, and does he want to play linebacker too? How did that go?
Well, Chip was a very highly recruited kid coming out of Akron Holborn, where he won like 3 state championships, and we know the high school coach. Coach Ty real well. We call him Ty. He's a really good friend of ours, me, Frank, and Coach Stoops. I recruited him. He committed to Arizona, and it was kind of like in Ohio, they was like, how did this happen, this kid getting out of the state? Normally you'll go to Kentucky or Michigan or Ohio State, and he had all 3 offers. But he went to play for Herm Edwards, and Herm did a really good job selling them, what they had to offer. But this kid, when I talked to Coach Klink, when they played Michigan, Ohio State played Michigan the last 2 years, Klink told me, he was like, they were glad that he was leaving it. I think last year he had like 80-something yards in the first half, and they stopped running him. So he's a very high character guy, very physical guy, and I think the biggest part, he's going to be a great addition to leadership. I thought leadership was down on offense last year, and bringing in a couple of these guys this year, with Chip being one of them, is going to be a big part of our offense.
Hasn't gone right with high school quarterback recruiting over the last decade, and what makes Cutter and what you have coming down the pipeline the way to get that fixed?
I think, it's kind of like when the transfer portal opened up. Normally you will have high school guys, you develop them, and you keep them, and you develop them. Now what's happened, you bring in a guy like Will Levis, any guys you had under that, they knew Will was going to be the starter. And in this time and day, kids still do not want to be developed. It's like a microwave generation. Everybody want it quick. And so I think getting Cutter, he brings a lot to the table. He's a great athlete. He has the swag. Guys rally around him. And people don't, it's an understatement, he comes from a very athletic family. Dad was a basketball player. Sister was like Gatorade basketball player. So he's the youngest. And when you're the youngest, you take all them beatings from your older sister and brother. And I just think he's the perfect fit for us. Is it fair that you have to bring in an older guy? It's not fair to put all that on him. Now, if he comes in and blows us away, then it's a blessing. But I do believe that he's going to be the guy that's going to be the future of this program.
What were the conversations with Jordan like after he entered the portal and coming back? Is it awkward in any way now that he's back in the fold? How do you all handle that in this era of college?
You really want to know what that conversation was like? Well, some of the stuff I can't say, right, Susan? But it was more like your son leaving the group. We have a very tight-knit group in that tight end room, and Caddis was one of the first guys who was pissed that he was leaving. And that shows you what the room is, because Caddis, if he was a selfish guy, he was like, hey, I'm glad this guy's leaving. But, there was, I ain't gonna say the school name, we all know what the school was. They poked him a little bit, and they did want him, and they were at him pretty hard, and they offered him a lot. But I think he looked at the family, he looked at the relationship, he looked at our offense. It fitted him more, staying here. And so we glad there was no hard feelings. This is a new era. It's no different from the NFL, where you're an unrestricted free agent, you go out and test, and then you come back if the team wants you. And we definitely not want to lose him. He's a big part of our football team.
Was there any frustration in your room, because there were weeks where the tight ends got targeted a lot, and then there were a month where they wouldn't get targeted at all? How did your guys kind of handle that over the course of the year?
I try to handle my room. We're not selfish. We're gonna do what we need to do. If we got to be involved in the run game, we got to be involved in the pass protection. It's quite ironic that the NFL is looking at Jordan and Josh Caddis just off of the stuff they do blocking. They see Jordan make plays athletically, but if you're not a blocker, you are not going to translate to the NFL. You have to do everything, and that's why Jordan and Caddis are really guys that they looking at. So there was no selfishness because I'm not going to allow that, but we have an open discussion. We always do, and then I'm the final say in there, and it's like, hey, we move on because we're a team first. We're a team first position group.
What was it like going out to Montana to find Hunter, kicker?
First of all, I did not go to Montana. Jay Boatware, but no, I'll leave that to Jay to go do that. I mean, trust me, I'm not going to Montana. Man, I'm not going to Montana. But we have coaches that, you know, Jay's a special teams coordinator, and that's where, if the guy was in Japan, if he's a good kicker, we're gonna go find him. So we gonna put our resources in that to go get anybody that we need that can help our team.
Vince, what do you like about Augustell and Hayes Johnson?
First, they're from Kentucky. They remind me of guys that Coach Schlarman used to recruit, big blue wall type guys. Hayes Johnson is a very country, tough, likes to hunt, and I think he fits our old culture of what we used to be, and I think Coach Yenser is bringing that back. Now, Abba was a guy that people don't understand. Abba was recruited very highly. There was a lot of people trying to get Abba. Alabama was trying to get him to come down. A lot of schools, a lot of SEC schools, and he stayed committed. He's an athletic guy that can play probably center, guard, air tackle, and you know he wears an 18 shoe, and he's still young. You see him; he got a baby face, so I think he's still gonna grow. But I really believe them two guys fit the mold of who we were when Schlarman was here, and that's where we're trying to go to.
You've helped sign some pretty big classes. How does just your personal haul, how does this stack up with some of the other classes that you've signed over the years?
These guys probably remind me of probably that 14 class. I don't know if you remember, where there was a lot of 4-star guys that we got out of Ohio and got out of, I think it was 2 that was in Kentucky. I was just impressed with the defensive guys. These guys that we recruited, a lot of SEC programs and Big Ten programs love these guys, love to get these guys. They were still poking at some of our guys, even getting down to before it went dead. There was head coaches coming to some guy's school in Ohio, trying to see if he was in the school, even though he was done with, you know, already had graduated. But it's a pretty good talented class. And then what makes it harder is that now you got to do the transfer portal, and you're trying to manage your roster, and then you going out and getting, like, I don't want to say we want to go out and get a whole bunch of portal guys. It's like the NFL now, and I really believe it. This was draft day, high school guys, and we went out and signed 4 to 5 to 6 unrestricted free agents to plug in for our team.
Vince, Devin Smith was one of the best players in that area of like coastal Georgia. What was it that you guys liked about him so much and what he can bring to the table?
Who was this?
Devin Smith.
Devin Smith. Oh, I mean, he was just like anything else. When you look at guys and you have these battles going down to the end, you have to stay. It's just like how I always use it. If you're trying to date a nice looking woman, and you finally start dating her, you better keep giving her nice stuff and bringing her flowers and bringing her chocolate, because if you don't, somebody else is going to do that. So I just feel that, with Devin, that it was like, you better always do your homework. That's in recruiting, period.
You can't talk about specific recruits in the future, but there are some younger brothers coming up. What are the dynamics of recruiting younger brothers or family members of guys that you've recruited before?
Don't piss their parents off now. Don't piss the people off now that are players here, and just do right. It's no different when you recruit a guy that went to a high school in 2014, and now they got a guy coming out in 2020. Everybody talk, and if your program did that guy wrong, you probably not gonna get that kid. And now if you got a brother or a cousin or a nephew, something like that, you better have a good relationship with that school, because 9 times out of 10, there's so many other schools out here, they look for something to be bad. So I think it's always about relationships. And I'm gonna tell you guys this, relationships won over this recruiting class. I don't know how many times, you can just be a good guy and they like you, but at some point, we have to step up and compete because we are really close. You look at the guys we're signing and even look at the games we have won. I mean, I give Jeff Brom a lot of credit. They were a game away probably from being in the playoffs, and we went down there and beat them on their home turf. So we just have to go to this new wave of where we're at in recruiting. And I know it's Christmas time, so I don't say, hey, guys, give it this or give it that. If you want your program to be where it's at, and you can give, we thank you so much for giving. I think it's really good when your state school wins, and I think we are very close to taking this to another level.
Coach, when you get in the room with these parents and kids, how quick do they mention the money and NIL these days compared to years before?
Well, years before, that would be cheating, so I don't know if that ever came up, but I will say this. It's the new wave, and that's a good question. It's the new era we're in, and some people, it's just the guys that we recruited were highly recruited guys. But there's some people that you recruit, the first thing that come out of their mouth is, what's your NIL package like? Or what can I get this and that? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I stay away from the guys because I think it's gonna be a problem anyway. You have to adjust to the time we're in right now. So we can't talk about NIL, but when they get on campus, they can talk to Eddie Grant, he's our NIL guy, and then we got the collective, they talk to them. We're not allowed to talk about that. But does it come up? Yes. And I say, you know what, I'm not suited to address that. I can tell you when you get on campus, you can talk to these guys, and that's how it happens.
You talk about this new era of college football, money getting thrown around. You have these high schoolers coming in, not all of them are gonna be day one starters. How hard is it to obtain these guys and develop them and not get them taken from you guys later on in their careers?
Relationships, and hopefully you're recruiting the right guy, and hopefully your collective at the time is somewhere fair. Because I'm gonna tell you this, guys, most these guys we got on our roster, and we got guys on our roster now that are very talented and people are poking them. They love our culture. They love the coaches here. They love the community. Susan is they just love pretty much in this program. And so it's like, do I want to go somewhere else just for money? But you better have some kind of thing here to balance that out. If you don't, you're going to lose them. You see it right now. It's going all over the country. You're losing guys. We rarely have lost guys to money. But it's always been relationships. I think the relationships worn out more. And, of course, you have to give them something. But I don't know how long that's going to last.
Vince, with those relationships, how helpful is it to start them early? With guys like Willie and Scott, they were poking late, but it seemed like they were just too late.
Yeah, so it's funny when I did Willie's home visit, I said, it's kind of like a man that's going to get married and he got a wife. He really, and he looks and he's been with that person for a long time. And now, the day before the wedding or a week before the wedding, you decide, hey, I want to go over here. But you don't really even know that person. And so I look at it like that. Like, I think these are 40-year decisions, guys. For you to be committed to a school and then flip. When that stuff happened with Willie, there was another tight end that's very highly recruited that wanted to come and visit like that Saturday. I didn't take it because I have no relationship with you. And so I just think when you do that, and these guys, I see that flip the day on signing day, I think that's crazy because you're not really having no relationship with nobody. You're just going in blinded now. And maybe it was because somebody offered you a little more money. To me, I still think you have to have some kind of relationship with people and trust with people. So.
Mark previously been committed to Ohio State. Can you kind of give us a breakdown of his game and just what you got?
So Martinet went to, my son Michael, who's on our strength staff, went to Toledo Central Catholic. He graduated in 2009 when I was coaching at Toledo. He went to Alabama, and Toledo Central Catholic has a lot of talent. And I was very glad we finally got somebody from, where Big Snack is from. I don't know if y'all remember Phil Hoskins. But getting from that program, Toledo Central Catholic, is like going to like Massillon, going to like Douglas. It's a very, very high profile program. And so he was committed to Ohio State. Yinzer did a really good job early identifying him. He came, visited, and we identified this kid when he had really no offers. And then soon after he left us, I offered him. Then Ohio State, then Michigan, then Auburn, all these people offered him. And sometimes kids in Ohio are pressured to go to Ohio State, as you know. They pressure, whether it's an uncle, whether it's and then the dad was like, Coach, that was on me. I told him, you need to go to Ohio State. He felt that he rushed too early. He decommitted. There was a lot of other schools in on him, but he really decommitted because he wanted to look at us. He wanted to take an official visit here. And, you know, he fell in love with it. He's a very physical dude. You know, there's a school in Detroit that's pretty good that we got some guys out of, Deion Walker now. They played them in a game, and we asked their coach their opinion about him. And he said, that kid is so physical, I wish I had 12 of him. And he said, we are a pretty tough team. So he gave him high praises. He's going to be a really, really good addition. He's a very smart kid, really good parents. And like I said, it was very good to get a kid from out of Toledo.
Recruiting side said Brian, as an outside linebacker, you guys list him as a defensive lineman here. Is he going to bounce back and forth? Is that to be determined? What do you?
You've seen this dude. He's like 275 right now. But he has 6% body fat. Like, it's not. And trust me, that's all natural. He really is a guy that just really trains his body. But he's so big and strong. I think he can play 3. I think he can play the 6. I think he can play jack if he trained at it. But he's one of the prettiest looking dudes that I have ever recruited out of high school. I mean, when he come on visits here during, some parents thought he was like a former player from the NFL coming back. And we would say, and he's only 17. He's only 17. So, no, he's a good looking dude.
Let's do one more.
Is this the best collection of Smiths you've ever signed in one class?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. We knew when they got back, and everybody knew this was a joke, but when they was in Connecticut, they felt we had no chance. But soon they crossed them state lines and got to Kentucky. We were ready. And he got great parents. Dad's a military guy. Them guys are really good. I mean, Gerard and Jacob are really, you talking about guys that was offered a lot to go to other places. And they really wanted to play for their home state. Now, we still had to recruit them. And, you know, I probably talked to their dad about 1,000 times. He's a good dude, but I told him, I said, bro, when they signed his papers, I said, me and you gonna have a serious talk about some of the conversations we had. So I'm very excited about him. Corbin is, you know, that's a really good area. Me and Mark was down there 2 weeks ago, and you know, when you go to these small areas in Kentucky, once I took over recruiting of Kentucky, I really got to know some very small towns and a lot of good people. You'd be amazed that you think they don't know you, and it's like you walk in the store and they know you. So it really was a good feeling getting out, going to these smaller little rural, you know, towns and stuff. So